The first time I noticed him, it was snowing. Not the beautiful kind you see in movies. The dirty, gray kind that melts into slush before it even touches the ground. He sat on the concrete step outside the subway entrance. Hunched forward, his shoulders pulled in like he was trying to disappear into himself. A torn jacket hung off his thin frame, the zipper broken, one sleeve darker than the other from years of grime. His beard was uneven, streaked with gray, and his hands, his hands were red and cracked, like the cold had been chewing on them for weeks. Everyone walked past him. So did I. At first, I was late for work as usual. The kind of late where you convince yourself that if you walk faster, time will somehow slow down for you. My boots splashed through slush. My breath came out in sharp white clouds, and all I could think about was the email waiting for me from my boss. Then I heard it. Not a shout, not a plea, just a quiet voice that said, "Morning." I stopped. I don't know why people say morning all the time, but this was different. There was no expectation in it. No pressure, just a word offered gently, like he wasn't asking for anything back. I turned. He was looking down, not at me, at the ground, like he already knew I might not answer. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out some loose change. Pennies, nickels, maybe a quarter or two. I dropped them into the paper cup beside him. The sound of metal against cardboard felt loud in the cold air. "Thank you," he said. I nodded and walked away. That should have been the end of it. But the next morning, he was there again. Same spot, same jacket, same cup. And the morning after that. And the one after that. It became routine. I didn't think of it as kindness. It was just habit, like grabbing coffee or checking my phone. I always had some change in my pocket, and he was always there to receive it. Sometimes he said, "God bless you." Sometimes just "morning." Never more than that. I never asked his name. He never asked mine. Weeks passed, then months. Winter turned into early spring, the snow melting into puddles that reflected the gray sky above the city. People still rushed past him, shoulders hunched, eyes glued to their screens, pretending not to see. But I saw him, and slowly, without realizing it, I started noticing the details. The way he flinched when someone raised their voice nearby. The way his eyes scanned every face that lingered too long. The way he never slept, at least. Not deeply, every time I passed him in the early mornings. He looked alert, like a man who had learned that rest was dangerous. Once I brought him a coffee. I didn't say anything, just placed it beside his cup. He stared at it for a long moment before picking it up with both hands, like it might disappear if he wasn't careful. "Black," he said quietly, "thank you." My heart skipped. I had ordered it black. "How did you?" I started. But he was already sipping, eyes closed, steam fogging his face. I walked away, telling myself it was just a coincidence. People guess things all the time. Right. After that, things changed. Not in big ways. In small ones. Sometimes he wasn't there when I arrived, but if I came back in the evening, his cup would be gone, the spot empty, like he had never existed. Other days, he was there earlier than usual, already watching the crowd like he was waiting for someone specific. Once I caught him looking at me before I spoke, not glancing, watching. When our eyes met, he looked away instantly, his jaw tightening. That night, I couldn't sleep. I told myself I was being paranoid. The city was full of strangers. You didn't survive on the streets without learning how to read people. Still, something felt off. The next morning, it was raining. The kind of rain that soaks through your clothes no matter how careful you are. I was in a hurry, umbrella slipping in my hand, my phone buzzing with notifications from work. I dropped the change into his cup without stopping. "Morning," I said automatically. He didn't answer. I took another step. Then I felt it. Fingers closing around my arm. Not rough, not violent, but firm. I froze. People streamed past us, umbrellas bumping, shoes splashing through water. No one paying attention. My heart slammed against my ribs as I slowly turned my head. He was looking up at me now. Really looking. His face was pale, his eyes wide with something I had never seen in them before. Fear. And then, in a low, urgent voice, he said, "Don't go to work today." For a second, I didn't breathe. The rain kept falling, tapping against my umbrella, dripping down the edge of my coat. His fingers were still wrapped around my arm, steady, controlled, like he knew exactly how much pressure to use. "What?" I said. My voice came out sharper than I meant it to. He released me immediately, like he'd been burned. "I'm sorry," he said. "I shouldn't have touched you." Then quietly, almost to himself, he added, "But you don't have time." I took a step back. My heart was racing now, the kind of fast that makes you dizzy. "I don't know you," I said. "You can't just take the long way home," he interrupted. "Call your sister, and whatever you do, don't get on the 8:15 train." The world tilted. "How do you know about my sister?" I asked. For the first time since I'd met him, he hesitated. Just a fraction of a second. But it was enough. His eyes flicked past me, scanning the crowd, the street, the entrance to the subway. When he looked back, his voice was barely a whisper. "Because I've been watching." Fear crept up my spine. "That's not funny," I said, "if you think this is some kind of joke." "It's not," he said firmly, "and I don't care if you believe me or not, just listen." People brushed past us, annoyed. Impatient, someone bumped my shoulder and muttered an apology. To them, we were just another awkward moment in a crowded city. To me, it felt like standing on the edge of something I couldn't see. "I've seen the way you stand on the platform," he continued, "near the third pillar. You check your phone twice. You get on the second car because it's less crowded." My stomach dropped. I had never told anyone that. "Who are you?" I asked. He opened his mouth. Then a siren wailed nearby. He flinched so hard he nearly fell backward. His breath caught in his throat. His eyes going distant, like he wasn't seeing the street anymore. "Listen to me," he said urgently. "If you do one thing today, make it this. Don't follow your routine." I stared at him, rain soaking into my sleeves, my mind screaming at me to walk away. This was crazy. He was crazy. I turned. I walked toward the subway entrance. Every step felt heavier than the last. Behind me, his voice broke. "Please," he said, "you saved my life once. Let me save yours." I stopped. Slowly, I turned back. "What did you say?" But he had already lowered his head, retreating into himself like he'd said too much. "Nothing," he murmured, "just be careful." I stood there for a long moment. My thoughts tangled my chest tight. Then my phone buzzed. 8:02 a.m. If I hurried, I could still catch the 8:15 train. I told myself I was letting fear control me, that listening to a stranger was ridiculous. But my feet wouldn't move. Instead of going down the stairs, I stepped away from the entrance. I walked. I took the long way. The city felt different when you weren't underground. Louder, sharper, I kept glancing over my shoulder, half expecting to see him following me. He wasn't. By the time I reached work, my clothes were damp and my hands were shaking. "Rough morning?" my coworker asked. I forced a smile, something like that. All morning I couldn't focus. Every notification made me jump. Every distant sound made my heart race. At 8:42 a.m., everything changed. Phones started buzzing across the office. Conversations stopped, someone gasped. I looked down at my screen. Breaking news. A gas explosion has derailed the 8:15 subway train near Midtown. The room spun. Images flooded my feed, twisted metal. Smoke pouring out of the tunnel, emergency crews everywhere. That was my train. That was my car. My legs gave out, and I had to grab the edge of my desk to stay upright. People were talking, shouting, asking if anyone had friends or family on board. All I could think about was a man in a torn jacket, sitting in the rain. That evening, I went back. The subway entrance was crowded with reporters and police tape, but his spot was empty. No cup, no jacket, nothing. On the ground, taped to the step where he used to sit, was a piece of cardboard. I flipped it over. Written in uneven, shaky letters were 4 words. "They know I warned you." I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw twisted metal and fire. Then his face, pale, urgent, terrified. The words on the cardboard burned into my mind. "They know I warned you." Who was they? And why was he so sure someone was watching? The next morning, I went back to the subway entrance before sunrise. The city was quieter then, like it hadn't fully woken up yet. Cleaning crews hosed down the sidewalks. The smell of wet concrete and disinfectant hung in the air. His spot was still empty. No cup, no blanket, no sign. It was like he'd been erased. I stood there longer than I should have, ignoring the stares of people passing by. Finally, a transit worker glanced at me and shook his head. "You looking for the guy who used to sit there?" he asked. "Yes," I said too quickly. "Did you see where he went?" The man frowned. "Haven't seen him since yesterday morning. Cops asked about him too." My stomach tightened. The police? Yeah, right after the explosion, asked a lot of questions. I thanked him and walked away, my thoughts racing. If the police were looking for him, that meant one of 2 things. Either they thought he was involved, or they knew he was a witness. I started with the shelters. The first one smelled like old coffee and bleach. The woman at the front desk flipped through a clipboard while I described him. Torn jacket, gray beard, quiet voice. She shook her head. No one like that checked in. The second shelter said the same. By the third, I stopped expecting answers. At a soup kitchen near the river, an older man listened carefully as I spoke. His eyes narrowed slightly. "You mean the quiet one," he said. "Kept to himself, always watching." "Yes," I said, "that's him. He was here sometimes," the man said slowly, "but he never stayed long." "Do you know his name?" The man hesitated, then he leaned closer. "He told people not to use it. He said names make it easier to find you." A chill ran through me. "Find you by who?" I asked. The man shrugged. He never said. Just that he'd already been found once. I left with more questions than answers. By afternoon, I was exhausted. My nerves shot. I sat on a bench across from the subway entrance, watching people come and go, half expecting him to appear like nothing had happened. He didn't. Instead, I noticed something else. A man across the street. He wasn't doing anything obvious, just standing there pretending to scroll on his phone. But he never went anywhere. Every few minutes, his eyes flicked up toward the entrance, toward me. I stood, He stood. I walked a few steps down the block. He followed. My pulse pounded in my ears. I ducked into a coffee shop and pretended to order. Through the window, I watched him stop outside, scan the room, then walk away. That night, I checked the news again. More details about the explosion were coming out. Officials said it was an accident, but something about the wording felt careful, controlled. Too controlled. Then I remembered the cameras. Every subway entrance had them. The next day, I filed a request with transit authorities, claiming I'd lost something near the entrance the morning of the explosion. It took hours, but eventually, they let me view the footage under supervision. The screen flickered to life. There I was, umbrella in hand. And there he was, sitting on the step. The moment he grabbed my arm, the camera angle shifted slightly, and that's when I saw it. He wasn't watching me. He was watching someone behind me. A man in a dark coat standing too still, facing us. When the homeless man spoke, the man in the dark coat raised his phone and pressed record. I felt sick. "Can I see earlier footage?" I asked. The technician frowned but rewound the tape. Hours earlier, the homeless man arrived at his spot just before dawn. First, he looked straight into the camera, and then, clear as day, he lifted his sleeve. Carved into his forearm were numbers, not random, coordinates. I couldn't stop staring at the screen. The numbers carved into his arm were uneven, like they'd been done in a hurry. Some lines were deeper than others, the skin around them rough and scarred. They weren't a tattoo. They were a reminder. "What are those?" I asked, my voice barely steady. The technician leaned closer. "Looks like coordinates." He said latitude and longitude. My chest tightened. "Can you pause it there?" I asked. He did. The homeless man lowered his sleeve a moment later and sat down. His head bowed on the screen. The timestamp glowed in the corner. 7:12 a.m. 3 minutes later, the man in the dark coat appeared. Watching, recording. I stepped away from the screen, my legs weak. Those numbers weren't meant for the camera. They were meant for me. That night, I typed the coordinates into my phone. They led to a place upstate, an old industrial area near the river, abandoned warehouses, rusted fencing, roads that hadn't been repaired in decades. I told myself not to go, but I went anyway. The drive took nearly 2 hours. The city faded into open road, then into something quieter and more unsettling. Cell service dropped in and out. By the time I reached the coordinates, the sun was already sinking low. The building stood alone, a massive concrete structure with broken windows and a chain-link fence bent inward, like it had been forced open years ago. A faded sign hung crooked near the entrance. "Federal property, no trespassing." My hands shook as I parked. Inside, the air smelled of dust and oil. My footsteps echoed through the empty space. Old equipment sat where it had been left, covered in grime and cobwebs. Then I saw it. A door at the back. Unlike the others, it was newer, reinforced. Locked, but not perfectly. It took effort, but it opened with a groan. The room beyond was smaller, cleaner. Metal tables, filing cabinets. A single chair bolted to the floor. An interrogation room. Files were scattered across one of the tables. I flipped through them, my breath catching. Black and white photos. Reports stamped classified. Names crossed out in thick black ink. And then I saw his face. Younger, clean-shaven, standing straight, eyes sharp. The name beneath the photo made my stomach drop. Daniel Hale. The file described him as a former federal analyst assigned to a covert surveillance program. A whistleblower, a liability. I read faster. He had discovered something: data manipulation, staged accidents, disappearances disguised as random tragedies, including a subway incident years ago, one that had been covered up. A pattern. My hands were shaking now. This wasn't about charity. It wasn't about coincidence. Daniel Hale had recognized me because I had been on one of those trains. Years ago. I survived. Others didn't. I closed the file as a sound echoed behind me. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. A shadow crossed the doorway, and a familiar voice said calmly, "You shouldn't have come here." I didn't turn around. Not at first, because I already knew who it was. My body went cold, every instinct screaming at me to run. But my legs refused to move. The voice behind me wasn't angry. It was tired. I told you not to change your routine, Daniel Hale said. Slowly, I turned. He stood in the doorway, no longer the hunched man from the subway steps. He looked older, yes, but straighter. Alert, his eyes weren't wandering now. They were focused, sharp, measuring every inch of the room. You followed the coordinates. He said. I was hoping you wouldn't. You carved them into your arm. I said, my voice cracked. What did you expect me to do? He glanced down at his sleeve. Then back at me. I expected you to survive. That was always the goal. Survive what? I demanded. He stepped inside and gently closed the door behind him. The sound echoed like a final decision. They don't like loose ends, he said. And you were never supposed to be one. I laughed short, breathless. You warned me about a train explosion. People died. His jaw tightened. More would have if I hadn't interfered. Interfered how? I asked. By forcing them to act early. He said. They rushed, they made mistakes, and you noticed. My chest felt tight. Why me? He studied me for a long moment. Because you were kind, he said simply. That's not an answer. It is, he replied, just not the one you want. He walked to the table and picked up one of the files, flipping it open. Years ago, he said, there was another subway incident. Different city, different story. Officially, it was a mechanical failure. My breath caught. I was on that train, I whispered. He nodded. So was your sister. The room tilted. What? I said. She didn't tell you everything. He said gently. She got off one stop early. You stayed on. The explosion happened 2 minutes later. My heart pounded. How do you know that? Because I was tracking that operation. He said, and when I saw your name on the survivor list, I remembered it. I backed away, my hands shaking. You've been watching me, I said. I've been protecting you, he corrected. From people who don't forget faces or names. I thought of the man in the dark coat, the phone raised, recording. They know who I am now, I said. Yes, Daniel said, which means they know who you are. Silence filled the room. Then he said the words I had been dreading. They're going to come for you. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from my sister. Are you alone? I looked up at Daniel. They're already here, he said quietly. A loud metallic clang echoed from outside the building. Someone had locked the main gate. The sound of the gate locking echoed through the warehouse like a gunshot. Daniel didn't flinch. They're early, he said calmly. That's not good. My heart slammed against my ribs. You said we had time. I said I hoped we did, he corrected. Hope isn't the same thing. Heavy footsteps moved outside the building. Muffled voices, someone laughed casual. Confident like this was routine. I pulled out my phone again. My sister had sent another message. Don't answer, they're tracing signals. My hands shook as I slipped the phone back into my pocket. You knew this would happen, I said to Daniel. You knew they'd come. Yes, he said, I just didn't think they'd be this close. He crossed the room quickly, opening a side cabinet I hadn't noticed before. Inside was a small backpack. Put this on, he said. What's in it? Enough to keep you alive, he replied, for now. I didn't argue. The lights flickered. From somewhere above us, metal scraped against metal. There on the roof, I whispered. Daniel nodded. 2 teams, 1 distraction, 1 retrieval. Retrieval, I asked. He looked at me. You. My mouth went dry. A loud bang shook the door. Federal agents, a voice shouted. Open up. Daniel let out a slow breath. They won't shoot unless they have to. Not inside, too many questions later. Another bang, louder. Cracks spread across the metal. Move, he said. We ran. He led me through a narrow hallway, down a set of stairs into a lower level that smelled of damp concrete and rust. Water dripped from exposed pipes. The air was colder here. How do you know this place so well? I asked between breaths. I helped design it, he said, back when it wasn't abandoned. Behind us, the door finally gave way. Shouting footsteps. Daniel stopped abruptly and grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me, he said urgently. If we get separated, you do not go to the police. Then who do I go to? I asked. He hesitated. Your sister, he said. She knows more than she's told you. Before I could respond, a gunshot echoed above us. Daniel shoved me sideways. The bullet ricocheted off the wall where my head had been. Go, he yelled. I ran. I didn't look back. The lower level opened into an old service tunnel. Dim emergency lights flickered. Casting long shadows, my breath burned in my chest. I heard Daniel shout behind me. Then silence. I burst out through a rusted door on the far end of the property, stumbling into the open air. The river was nearby, dark, fast-moving. My phone vibrated violently. An incoming call. Sister. I answered, gasping for breath. Where are you? She demanded. They're after me, I said. Daniel said you knew. I know, she interrupted. I always knew. My heart dropped. You need to listen carefully, she said, because the man you just ran from, he wasn't the only one protecting you. A pause. Then she said the words that stopped my breath completely. I work for them. I stood on the riverbank, rain soaking my hair. My lungs burning from running, my phone clutched tightly. Her words replayed in my head. I work for them. My sister. My blood ran cold. What? I whispered into the phone. She didn't answer right away, then finally. I didn't have a choice. A shadow moved behind me. I spun around. Daniel emerged from the trees, soaked, battered, but alive. Get out of here, he hissed. They're splitting up. One team is coming for you, the other is after me. Wait, I shouted. Tell me what she means. Why would my sister? Daniel's eyes darkened because she promised herself safety. They control more than you realize. And if she disobeys, he didn't finish the sentence. I didn't need him to. My phone vibrated again. My sister. Meet me, she said. Abandoned warehouse, alone, come now. I froze. Don't do it, Daniel warned. It's a trap. I have to know, I said, my voice shook. He stared at me, conflicted, then nodded slightly. Fine, but you go in with a plan. The warehouse was the same one from the coordinates, but a different entrance. Chains hung from the ceiling. Broken boxes scattered the floor, and old fluorescent lights flickered. I stepped inside. There she was, my sister, calm, collected, a gun in her hand. Sit down, she said, and listen carefully. I took a cautious step forward. They're after us both, she began. Not just you, not just me. Daniel is a loose end. They want to erase anyone who knows. Erase, I repeated, my voice hollow. Yes, she said flatly, and you've already been seen. That's why you had to survive the train. I swallowed hard, then Daniel, he saved me. She nodded, yes, but he's playing a dangerous game. He's not invincible. I looked at her, tears stinging. And you, why? I had no choice, she whispered. They threatened everything. You, me, mom, dad, all of it. I followed their rules to survive, to protect you. Her words hit like a hammer. Betrayal, fear, love, confusion. Suddenly, the doors slammed open. Figures emerged from the shadows, men and women in black, moving fast, precise. My sister raised her gun, firing a warning shot. I froze. A flash of movement. Daniel appeared behind one of the attackers, throwing him to the ground, disarming another. It was chaos. I ducked behind a crate. My sister moved closer, whispering, "We survive this together, or we die." My heart pounded. Daniel shouted over the noise, "Go find the other exit, I'll hold them." I hesitated. She grabbed my arm. "Now." We ran through the shadows, footsteps echoing behind us, gunfire and shouting filling the air. Then, as we reached the final door, she stopped. "Wait," she whispered, "look." Through the cracked metal door, I saw him. Daniel, surrounded, cornered. And just before they closed in on him, he looked at me and mouthed 2 words: "Trust me." We ran through the twisted metal corridors of the warehouse, my sister gripping my arm tightly, every sense screaming that death was behind us. Gunfire echoed, ricocheting off walls. Shadows danced as the lights flickered. I glanced back. Daniel was still there, holding off at least 4 of the agents, moving with precision that only came from years of experience. "Go," he shouted, "I'll buy you time." My sister and I didn't hesitate. We sprinted through the back exit, rain washing over us, cold seeping through our clothes. I wanted to turn back to go help him, but she shoved me forward. We survive. That's all that matters right now. The streets were empty, the city still in early evening haze. We ran until our lungs burned, finally stopping in an alley. We collapsed against the wall, drenched and shaking. Is he okay?" I asked, my voice breaking. My sister shook her head. "I don't know. He made it clear he'd handle them, that's all I know." I sank to the ground, overwhelmed. Daniel, the man who had saved my life before, the one who had warned me, protected me, risked everything, he was still out there, alone, facing impossible odds. And then it hit me. All this time, I had seen him as just the homeless man I passed every morning, the quiet figure with a torn jacket and sad eyes. But he was more. He had been a soldier, a protector, a whistleblower who had put everything on the line to save strangers he didn't even know. And now I understood the truth about kindness. It wasn't always safe. It wasn't always easy. But sometimes it changed everything. I looked at my sister. Her face was pale, her eyes haunted. "I should have told you," she whispered. "I should have trusted him, trusted you. I was scared." I nodded, unable to speak. Fear, relief, anger, gratitude, all tangled inside me. Then my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "He didn't make it yet. Follow the map. Hurry." Attached was a photo of Daniel, cornered but alive, holding a small piece of paper with coordinates scribbled hastily. My heart raced. "He's alive," I said. "We go to him," my sister said, determination hardening her voice. I hesitated. What if it's a trap? She shook her head. "Then we trust him, that's all we have." And so, in the pouring rain, soaked to the bone, with nothing but a small map and a desperate hope, we ran. To save him, to face them, to finally understand that survival wasn't just about escaping. It was about standing together, even when everything else wanted to tear you apart. And somewhere deep in my chest, I knew one thing. No matter what happened next, Daniel Hale had already changed my life forever. We followed the coordinates through winding back roads, abandoned streets and cracked concrete paths, the rain soaking us through, mud sticking to our shoes. The map led us to another warehouse, smaller, older and clearly still operational. The faint glow of lights inside signaled they were waiting. My sister glanced at me, ready. I swallowed hard, as ready as I'll ever be. We moved quietly, pressing ourselves against the walls. Shadows are only allies, inside. We could hear voices, too many to count, all speaking in low, controlled tones. And there he was, Daniel. Alive, bruised, bleeding slightly from a cut across his forehead. But alive, hands tied, standing in the center of the room. Around him, agents with guns, scanning for any movement. One of them noticed us. Gunfire erupted, chaos. Daniel dropped to the floor, rolling to the side. Narrowly avoiding a bullet, my sister pulled me down behind a stack of crates, firing shots she had taken from the previous warehouse. We moved in synchronization, silent but deadly. Every shot, every step, calculated. Daniel had loosened his bindings. He rose, firing at anyone who came close. "Go left, I'll cover you," he shouted. I ran, following the path he indicated. My sister beside me, I could hear him shouting instructions, moving like a force of nature. We reached another door leading outside, only to find more agents waiting. "They anticipated us," I whispered, heart racing. "They know we're coming," my sister said, eyes scanning frantically. Suddenly, Daniel appeared behind the agents, taking them down with precise moves. One by one, his strength, his experience, it was more than human. We rushed to him, he turned, grabbing my arm. "You okay?" "Yes," I panted. "Then follow me, fast." We ran through the back, zigzagging through debris. Gunfire still echoing behind us. My sister shouted instructions she had memorized from Daniel, creating distractions and buying us time. Finally, we reached the riverbank. A small boat waited, engine running, ready. Daniel untied a rope and helped us aboard. "Hold on tight," he said. We sped away, water splashing, rain blurring the lights behind us. As we disappeared into the darkness, Daniel's gaze lingered on the city. His lips moved in a whisper I could barely hear. "They won't stop," he said. I nodded, fear and relief twisting inside me. "Then neither will we." In the quiet of the boat, soaked and exhausted, I finally asked, "Why me? Why now?" Daniel looked at me, his eyes fierce yet tired. "Because you chose kindness when it mattered most. That's rare, and sometimes that's enough to change everything." My sister reached over, gripping my hand. "We're not out of danger," she said softly. "No," Daniel admitted, "but we've survived what others wouldn't. And that counts for something." The river stretched ahead, dark and endless. But for the first time in weeks, I felt a flicker of hope. Because in a world that tried to break us, we were still standing. And Daniel Hale, the man I had once passed on the subway steps, had proven that survival wasn't just about luck. It was about courage, trust, and above all, humanity. The boat cut through the river in silence. Rain still fell, but now it felt cleansing, washing away the chaos and fear that had dominated our lives for weeks. Daniel sat across from us, still bruised. Tired but alive, my sister leaned against me, exhausted yet alert. We had escaped, somehow, against odds that seemed insurmountable. "I can't believe we made it," I whispered. Daniel shook his head, a faint smile breaking through the grime on his face. "It wasn't luck, it was choices." "Choices?" I asked. "Yes," he said, "you chose kindness. You chose to notice, to act, to survive. Your sister chose courage over safety. I chose to risk everything for strangers I barely knew." Choices make all the difference in a world that often feels like chaos. I stared at him, finally understanding. The homeless man I had passed every morning, the man I had thought of as insignificant, had been far more powerful than I ever imagined. Not because of strength, not because of skills, but because of courage, morality, and persistence. "And now?" I asked. "Now," Daniel said, looking at the horizon. "We rebuild, we stay alive, we expose them when the time is right, but for today we rest." My sister reached over, holding both our hands. "We survived because of each other," she said softly, "and that matters more than anything." I nodded, feeling the weight of the past weeks lift slightly. In the distance, the city lights reflected in the water. Everything we had been through, betrayal, fear, loss, danger, had led us here. Alive together, still human. And as Daniel turned to look at me, his eyes calm but fierce, he said words I would never forget. "Kindness is never wasted, sometimes. It's all the difference between life and death." For the first time in weeks, I allowed myself to breathe. The rain fell around us, the river carried us forward, and I realized something profound. Even in a world full of darkness, fear, and betrayal, a small act of kindness could ripple out and change everything. Sometimes it saved more than just one life. It saved souls. It saved hope. And it saved me.